What if I told you that the entire history of football, every goal, every trophy, every scream of joy from the stands, has been a setup? A 20-year-long preparation for a single, mathematical inevitability. We have spent 2 decades locked in a binary world, a world defined by 2 names. We have argued over lunch, over coffee, over drinks, and in the quiet of our own minds. We ask the same question thousands of times to anyone who would listen. Who is better? But what if the answer wasn't a name? What if the answer was a collision? Consider this. For 20 years, the universe, or perhaps the grand simulation we exist within, has carefully, meticulously kept these 2 variables apart. They played in the same league, but never in the same final. They were the parallels that never crossed, the stars that orbited the same gravity but never touched. Why? Maybe because the logic of the world feared what would happen if they truly met at the peak of their destinies. We are not just talking about a match. We are talking about the end of an era, the end of a belief system. And if you are ready to see the curtain fall on the greatest rivalry in human history, then listen closely. Because what happens next will change football forever. For 2 decades, we lived in a reality divided by 2. On one side, we had Lionel Messi, the architect of space. He doesn't move with the ball, he moves through the geometry of the pitch. He treats gravity not as a fundamental law, but as a mere suggestion. He is the quiet, terrifying force that bends the world to his will. He does not run, he calculates. On the other side, we had Cristiano Ronaldo, the master of verticality. He defied the aging process with the cold, hard logic of physics. Every jump, every strike, every acceleration is a calculated override of human biology. He treated his body as a machine, and in return, the machine allowed him to conquer time itself. They were never just players. They were 2 opposing forces in a cosmic experiment. Messi represents the fluidity of nature, while Ronaldo represents the endurance of the will. And for 20 years, we sat in the stands, convinced that this was just sport. But what if we were wrong? What if they were the twin pillars of our modern age, holding up the roof of our collective wonder? Think about the sheer impossibility of it. 2 individuals rising from different corners of the earth, defined by different traumas, fueled by different fires, yet ending up at the exact same summit. It is statistically impossible. It is scientifically absurd. Yet, here we are. The 2026 convergence now. Imagine it. 2026, the World Cup final. Argentina versus Portugal. The stadium is quiet. The air is thick, not with noise, but with the suffocating weight of history. The whistle blows. For the first time, their patterns intersect. Think about the tension of that first touch. When Messi receives the ball, he looks for the gap. But for the first time, he isn't looking at a defender. He is looking at the only other human being on this planet who understands the singular burden of being the greatest. And when Ronaldo looks across the pitch, he isn't looking for space. He is looking for the one mirror that reflects his own obsession back at him. This isn't about goals anymore. It is about the philosophy of the game. If Messi wins, he cements the idea that genius is born, that magic is an inherent right. If Ronaldo wins, he proves that greatness is forged, that with enough suffering, a human can become a god. The result changes the fundamental truth of football for the next 100 years. It determines whether we believe in destiny or we believe in discipline. But here is the haunting truth that fans refuse to face. If they meet, someone has to lose. Think about the psychological collapse of that moment. The winner walks away with the trophy, but he also walks away with the end of the rivalry. The loser walks away with the finality of never again. What if the moment the final whistle blows, the greatest of all time debate dies. Would we be happy? Or would we feel a terrifying sense of emptiness? We have spent 20 years arguing, and that argument gave us purpose. We define ourselves by which side we stand on. Without them on the pitch, football becomes just a game again. Maybe the reason they never met in a World Cup final wasn't bad luck. Maybe it was the universe protecting us from the silence that follows. The silence of a world that no longer has its two kings to fight over. If they meet, the world stops. But we must be careful what we wish for. Because when the curtain falls on the most beautiful stage in history, we don't get a sequel. We get the credits. We get the realization that the show is over. So, do you really want to see it? Do you want to see the curtain close, the lights dim, and the gods finally humanized in defeat? Or is the mystery of the what if better than the truth of the final result? The game is played in the mind as much as on the grass. And in 2026, the mind will finally have to accept that nothing, not even the greatest rivalry in human history, lasts forever. If this final showdown actually happens, the world will change. But before it does, I want to know where you stand. If this match is real, if this is the end of the road, who are you rooting for? The man who was born with the magic of the heavens, or the man who built himself from the dust of the earth? There is no middle ground left. Choose your side and leave your choice in the comments. I want to see which side of history you are on. Do not just watch this pass by. Be a part of the record. Subscribe if you are ready to witness the end of an era. The countdown begins now.